h5, f4, e takes f4, bishop c4, queen h, king f1, bishop d4, bishop, knight f3, queen, bishop takes f7 check, h3, queen g3, knight, king takes, knight e2, e4, e5, f4, e takes f4, knight f3, g5, knight g4, knight e5, queen g3, queen takes g4, queen takes 8, g takes 8, queen h5, bishop, knight takes f7, e4, e5, f4, knight c6, knight f3, d6, bishop c4, knight f6, d3, bishop g4, short castle, bishop e7, knight c3, knight d4, f takes e5, d takes e5, bishop takes, king takes f7, knight takes e5 check, king g8, knight takes g4, queen takes, knight takes c2, queen e6 checkmate, d4, knight f6, c4, g6, g3, bishop g7, bishop, short castle, knight f3, short castle, knight bd, knight c3, e5, e4, c6, bishop e3, knight g4, bishop, queen b6, h3, e takes d4, knight a4, queen a6, h takes g4, b5, bishop e7, rook e8, bishop takes d6, b takes a4, e5, c5, b4, c takes d4, queen takes d4, bishop e7, rook a1, rook a8, c5, queen b5, queen f4, bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, knight takes c5, bishop e2, queen b6, rook c1, knight e6, queen takes, knight d4, bishop c4, bishop takes e5, queen takes b6, a takes b, bishop takes e5, knight f3 check, king g2, knight takes e5, bishop e5, rook takes c1, rook takes c1, rook d8, bishop takes a4, rook d2, g5, rook takes a2, rook c8 check, king g, bishop b3, rook b2, rook c3, b5, rook e3, knight g4, rook f3, f5, g takes f6, knight takes f6, rook d3, knight e4, rook d7 check, king h6, bishop g8, rook takes f2 check, king g1, rook b2, rook takes h6, king g5, rook b7, king g4, king f1, g5, bishop h7, knight c3, rook c7, b4, rook c5, rook d2, king e1, rook e2 check, king f1, rook d2, king e1, rook d5, rook takes d5, knight takes d5, king d2, king takes g3, bishop e4, knight b6, king d3, g4, bishop c6, king f2, king c2, knight c4, bishop d7, g3, d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, short castle, e5, knight e8, f4, d6, bishop e2, c5, d takes c5, knight c6, c takes d6, e takes d6, knight f3, bishop g4, e takes d6, knight takes d6, c5, knight f5, queen takes d8, rook a takes d8, short castle, rook f8, bishop b5, bishop takes f3, rook takes f3, bishop d4 check, king h1, bishop takes c5, rook f1, knight fd4, bishop a4, a6, f5, knight takes f5, bishop g5, bishop e7, bishop f4, b5, bishop b3, knight cd4, bishop d1, bishop d6, bishop g5, bishop e7, bishop f4, bishop f6, bishop g4, h5, bishop h3, bishop e5, bishop g5, f6, bishop f4, bishop takes f4, rook takes f4, king g7, rook f2, knight e3, g3, f5, rook e1, knight g4, rook f1, knight f2 check, king g2, knight d3, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, rook d1, rook e3, knight d5, rook e2 check, king f1, rook f2 check, king g1, knight f3 check, king h1, rook takes h2 checkmate.